Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SPORTING160EN Podcast, episode 150. That is right, 150 episodes of me, Chris, Danny, Steph, Nando, Patrick, and even way before us three were here, so many other names. So thank you all for staying with us for 150 episodes. And also, yesterday was our 5-year anniversary as well. 5 years ago, created this account. It got suspended, unfortunately, and we had to create a new one. I think our one was like 7,000 followers as well, so rest in peace to that account. But before I go any further, let me introduce you to my co-host. First, hailing from Toronto, I believe, Mr. Danny Saldana.
What do you mean you believe?
There's so many different
He didn't know. He wasn't sure if you were in a suburb.
The outskirts.
Yeah.
Listen, let me just make one thing clear. I heard there's rumors on this podcast. I am not from the GTA. I'm not from Mississauga. Not from Brampton. Definitely not from Brampton. Your boy's from the 6, and but yeah, no, glad to be on. Fun, quite an interesting coincidence how 5 years and then 150 just kind of collided there. So it's been a pleasure, boys. I haven't been around for the whole 5 years, but Sam has, and yeah, congrats, I guess, to all of us. It's been one hell of a ride, and long may it continue.
Most definitely. Yeah, I've been here. Well, I missed a few years in the middle when we were absolutely awful and didn't want to come and be Sporting is shit. I can't even remember who our strikers were back then. Diaby was awful, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I took a bit of hiatus, but I think we've all been around sort of the same amount of time period with breaks and stuff in between. So it's all good. And last but not least, introducing my main man, Chris. How you today, man?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here with you boys. Happy you asked me to sub on as a guest that one time, and happy that I'm still here.
Yeah, it's been great to have you both. And on that vein, I'll start with you, Danny. Your favorite moment of the podcast could be on Twitter. It could be on the actual podcast itself. Just what's your favorite thing?
There's a few, man. There's a few that stick out. Obviously, the Bruno Carvalho interview was fun. I like the nuances that we've created. Like with me, Jose Costa Jorge always fucking busts my balls. What did I say wrong again?
Escaloins.
That's what it was. Exactly. I love that. Every now and again, whenever Jose Costa Jorge is on or Ozzy Tuga, always ripping me in the chat with that. Love that. Yeah, man. A lot of good moments to pick from, though, dude. A lot of great guests on. Chris, you take it away, dude.
I mean, obviously the higher profile interviews are an obvious answer. I'm thinking back to COVID era, early COVID era, May 2020, the April 2020. We had nothing to do. The seasons were all suspended. And none of us were going to work, right? Everyone's working from home. And so we were just we're voting on old jerseys. We're doing random polls and shit. That era of when everyone has nothing to do except sit on Twitter, produced some good content, I feel between March and May, let's say, of 2020.
Yeah. For me personally, there is obviously the Bruno Carvalho one's the top, but that's the obvious answer. But even interviewing Nuno Souza like we had before, a candidate that was actually trying to improve sporting, Con Murphy as well, obviously the GOAT commentator, as by Jug, that me and Chris were lucky to interview and was just such a good man and answered every single question, which is good. But yeah, honestly, the guests we've managed to get on, and obviously by having podcasts with Beatrice and all these fans that we have, and special people as well. That's how pretty much Chris and Danny, they said, came on. It was an invitation, and happened from there. So obviously, Danny's first episode, Chris' first episode, even I think the first episode with me and Steph was probably maybe the start of the season 5 years ago, and I think that was when we still had George Jesus, we had Cohen Trout, we were in the Champions League still, and considering where we were then, where we are now, title winners, and just pretty much feels like a whole different club, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah. By the way, hopefully we'll have Steph joining us later, and then I'll ask him the same question and see what he says. But anyway, thank you to all the comments in the live chat as well, saying congratulations. We appreciate you all, and obviously the ones on Twitter as well. Speaking of, quick segue to Twitter as well. We've got some Twitter questions. Let me just get the screen up. I'll start with this one from Paul Rodriguez. He's got three different questions, or three different questions. We'll get the first one to Danny. Was it a bad move to let Thiago Thomas go?
I mean, in hindsight, it is looking like a bad move right now. No Slimani. Paulinho hasn't been firing off. Thiago Thomas has done pretty well out there in Stuttgart. I haven't seen much of him recently, though, admittedly, but it is looking like a bad move. I don't know what the fixation, and I think we all agreed we didn't understand what the fixation was with Amorim only having two forwards. Even to this day, why still have the two forwards? As you can see, Slimani, like we're simply talking about somebody being left off the squad. What if there was an injury, right? But anyways, yeah, to keep it short, I think it was a bad move in hindsight. But I think it's also beneficial for Thiago Tomas to be getting these minutes under his belt. So not horrible, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, next question goes to you. What position is needed more? You can rank them as well. Striker, centre back, left back, or if you have your own position, feel free.
I think that the order that they're listed is probably the right order.
Yeah.
And the only reason that left wing back and center back aren't switched is because of the evolution of Mateus Reis over the course of the season. Because otherwise, it's there. We've just spent 10 mil on there's nothing else, and he's a bust. So at least we have something going over there.
Yeah. I would personally say centre mid over left wing back. I know there's rumours of people signing, but there's also rumours of.
Here's the thing. I'm actually, the more and more that he just fucks off, the less and less I become convinced that Mateus Nunes is leaving this summer.
Yeah.
I think Paulinho is probably certain, and I think it's probably been certain for at least 6 to 8 months. But Mateus, I don't know if that's just a shoo-in anymore that he's going. He's definitely not going for 60 million.
I think it's gonna be like a Nuno Mendes thing where it's all quiet until the last day, and then
he gets loaned with an option. Yeah, I could see that. Don't get me wrong, I could see him leaving, for sure, 100%. But I don't know if it's as certain. If you asked me a month ago, I would have said he's gone, 100% gone. But I'm maybe dropping that down to 70 now.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you both this next question, and I'll start off with you, Chris, though. Who do you think should get the first opportunity to replace Sarabia next year? Paul Edwards, Tabata. He says Braganza, but no way Braganza gets that.
Braganza can play everywhere. He can play up top now. He can play in the middle. Who says he can't play on the wing, bro? I'm going to say Edwards. I think Edwards is earned it.
Yeah. Daddy, you keen to agree?
Yeah, I agree, Edwards. But, one, we'll have to see if Tabata stays. I don't think he will.
I don't think he's too happy either.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to go to Botafogo because he doesn't want to go back to Brazil, but I don't know if he wants to stay here either,
Dave Pereira is big on either Jovan or Tabata going to Braga, let me tell you. He's always in my DMs saying Carmu's going to Sporting, and one of those two are going to Braga.
God damn it, bro. Why can't we just sell him outside the league, bro?
I think he stays. I think he should stay. And I'm hopeful that he finally gets somewhat of an opportunity next year, because I think what this year showed us is we need more rotation. And Tabata's done well, I feel, whenever he's come in. But I just wanted to – I think Edwards takes over Sarabia. Edwards, by the way, how good has Edwards been? Holy shit. Pleasantly surprised. I hold my hands up. He still can't start. I said we didn't need him. My bad. I was wrong. My bad.
Yeah.
If PSP is available, if PSP is available, he can't buy a start.
No, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe I would
admit I was wrong as well. Yeah, he should be starting instead of Pot. 100%. Pot's been. I mean, he got an assist, I believe, this game, but still not that great.
Yeah, he did get an assist. There's a fucking no-look back heel that traveled 20 yards somehow through 3 people. But it was an assist.
Yeah, true. Nuno Gabriel asks about the FC Fruta, which would be Porto, versus Sporting game. Do you guys think Ruben Amorim got it all wrong again, just like in the game versus Benfica? Danny, what were your thoughts? Do you think it was just a Porto with a better team, or was it more like Ruben Amorim getting it wrong again?
I don't know.
Or even something else, if you feel something else is at play.
No, I think Porto were just the better team, especially in the second half. Does that mean Amorim got it wrong? The only argument I can see
He didn't get it right. He didn't get it right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The only argument I can see is maybe, if we had Slimani in this game, we could at least chase the first or the tying goal.
More than anything, I was just amazed how long he waited to tinker. It's like, we need 2 goals. Like, yeah. I would have started making moves around the 60th, I feel like. But he really waited till like the 75th. It's like, we need 2.
Remind me, because I forgot. Paulinho started this game, right? Or was it Ugarte?
I've got the lineups here. It was Ugarte and Matheus Nunes in the midfield, yeah.
Yeah, then Ugarte wasn't it either then.
And then he put in Bragança up top for the last like 10 minutes.
And he did start Nuno Santos instead of Marcus Edwards as well.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I look at the lineup,
oh shit! Wait,
he might have gotten it wrong a bit. Definitely, he might have. But Porto were just the better team at the end of the day, I think too.
No, they were way better than us. But...
It was. I mean, we'll get into it, but it was like a tale of 2 halves, right? The first half was Sporting, second half was mainly Porto. So tough to say he got it wrong per se, but I mean, hopefully he learns these lessons for the next season.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. There were some decisions that I didn't agree with. Marcus Edwards not starting instead of Pot. But with, the defense is always going to be Neto, Coates, Inacio in that situation. Yeah. But, I think Porto are definitely the better team. I think if Marcus Edwards starts, I don't think maybe we win the game, but I think it's definitely a different result. Maybe not a different result, but a different playing style, 100%. Chris, you sort of touched on it earlier. Record saying Matheus Nunes won't leave for unless 60 million. What do you think is a more reasonable fee that Sporting would accept?
45.
25. Yeah, less than half, or even a 20 plus 5, which was like, I think it was 18 plus 2. The Everton offer that was rejected. So 20 plus 5 sounds like something they would take.
Yeah. The 2 teams interested are Newcastle and Man City. So I can see we've been linked to that Yangel Herrera for years. So it wouldn't surprise me if they sent him the other way on like a loan or something like that. Or Man City includes some players. Apparently we've got quite a nice partnership with Man City. So don't know if we can use that to that effect, like we've used it with PSG and Sarabia. Could get someone on. I don't know. Newcastle, I think we're more likely to get the 60 million out of, though, just because they have so much money to spend. I feel like they just don't really care. But if you were to say a definite, would you say, was it 25 plus 5, did you say?
I think they would do that, but I think that they would do, a minimum of 20, and they would probably do it.
Fair. Danny, what about you?
Yeah, I'll say a fair price. I think maybe 60 is a bit much. A fair price would be like 45. What I think this administration would take. I'm with Christian. Maybe 20 plus 5 with incentives, or 20 plus 10 with multiple incentives, and one of them being that he's going to win the Ballon d'Or within the next year or 2. And we all know that's not going to happen. Quickly on the Newcastle thing, one thing that nobody's talking about that I'm slightly worried about, just my intuition, Newcastle coming in for Gonçalo Inácio, because I think they were linked to him or rumored to be interested.
They were. There's
January.
Abala. The only paper that's reported this is Abala, so I don't believe it.
Record did say that they sent scouts. Newcastle were scouting.
Abala says they sent an official offer and it was rejected though of 30 million, which I don't believe.
That I don't know. Yeah, that I don't believe either.
If that happened, he wouldn't be on the team right now.
Agreed. But I do think Newcastle are sniffing around for a young center back, and I think Inácio hits all the criteria that they're looking for. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the surprises. We all know Sarabia is not going to be here. It'd
be shocking if
Paulinho won't be here.
Yeah.
So I'm worried with the Nasiuj, maybe the Mateus. I'm worried with Mateus Nunes. If we lose Paulinho and Mateus Nunes, that midfield's going to need a rehaul. And I don't know about you guys. I've seen a bit of Santa Clara, not much. But what I have seen of Murita, I don't think unless Amorim turns him into an Ugarte, I don't see it, at least. Not yet. But I'm glad to later on hold my hands up and admit I'm wrong, like I was with Edwards. So prove me wrong, Murita.
Yeah, I mean, 50% of the midfield's already done with Ugarte. So it's just that other spot, whether it's going to be Morita, it's going to be Bragança, or it's going to be, someone else, or Esugo or Pot. Yeah, exactly.
I'm at the point with Bragança where I think it's more likely that he's not on the team next season than he starts.
That's another thing that worries me too, though, because if it's Bragança, Mateus Nunes, and Paulinho, and we're really fighting for a title, and we're getting a brand new midfield, that's hectic.
The Bragança situation reminds me so much of Chico Geralds, and like people saying, "Oh, he's finally going to get a start next year. He's going to start playing," and then he just never does.
Except we were saying that this year, and he still didn't even play this year.
But the difference is Bragança has at least shown some promise whenever he's come on.
He has. Last year, to be honest, he hasn't done himself a lot of favors in the second half of this season with his cameos. Agreed. But last year, he had like some stupid record. Maybe with us at least, he had this record that anytime he would come on, he was like, we won the game. If we were in a drawn position, losing position, he'd come on and he changed the game. Yeah. So I think there's still promise there. It's not Geralds. Geralds would come on and do nothing. He's better than Geralds, I think.
No. I'm just saying like how it's always supposed to.
No, it's similar though.
Next year, I know.
The dynamic is similar, yeah.
It's like, but it's more than just it's Geralds, it's Yuri. Fuck.
Yeah, Yuri's a good one.
I mean, Leon, but he
low-key as Gaio was before he left, because he never really got his full shakeout, to be honest. People were like, put him in.
George Zeus never gave him a chance either, though.
No.
Asshole.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the next bit I wanted to get onto is one of Nuno's questions, but I feel like it should sort of go before any of the games, and that is the so-called Slimani gate. So there's been various reports, various tweets, various just everything, like Instagram posts, whatever. So the story goes that Amorim wasn't happy with Slimani's attitude after learning he wouldn't start. Since then, he has not been in the team, not even traveling. And Amorim basically said, when he was asked about it by a reporter, just said, "I only bring players that train well," which is obviously lit a fire under some of the Sporting fans on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just because as a guy who plays so bad all the time, and like other players like Nuno Santos and players that just keep on being awful, somehow keep getting into the team, where Slimani, literally 2-month player of the month back to back, and still not being picked. So, Chris, I'll start off with you. Whose side are you on, if you are, and what do you think this entire thing is leading to? Is Slimani going to come back? Is he going to leave? Or what do you think is going to happen?
So I can see both sides of the story, because I can see the Slimani side of the story of I play presumably pretty well, definitely comparatively pretty well in the limited opportunities I have. I've bagged a bunch of goals. I definitely have a better scoring record than the other guy. But no matter what I do, I can't nab a start off this guy. No matter what I fucking do. I could be fucking Pele in this training session right now, and he's not going to start me. So, did he probably mail it in a little bit? He probably did. And I'm not even saying that he didn't. I'm sure Amorim has reason. I'm sure he mailed it in. But, like, can you not see why he would at least be potentially motivated, frustrated, etc.? I can, because it sucks when the coach plays favorites, you know? When you think that you deserve a start, you think that you've done better, and he keeps rolling with his guy. It can be frustrating, I understand. Did Slimani make a fucking scene in training? I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. Did he just kind of not try, and then they looked at his GPS and were like, yo, this guy ran 1 mile and everyone else ran 7. Like, what the fuck? Or did he, like, throw his penny on the ground and shit? Like, was he acting like a dickhead? Like, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't there. So, yeah, I mean, my sympathy for Slimani, I guess, varies, depends on how he handled it in the moment. But I can see why he probably would be frustrated, to be honest, especially if he's being teased the day before that he's in the starting lineup, and then he finds out he's not. It's like, God damn it, dude. Yeah, I mean, maybe that training session that I already know that I'm not starting. Yeah, I maybe go 60% or whatever. What is he gonna do? Start me if I play well? No. So, yeah. But at the same time, it's like the manager has a point. Like the manager has like a pretty good track record of like, you know, organizing the players, getting the boys to buy into him. You know, like a good way to judge a coach, I feel like, is like on a scale of 1 to 10, the average player, like, would they run through a brick wall for that coach? Like if it's under like 8, like it's not that the manager just doesn't have that connection with his players, and like you can only go so far. So like I feel like these boys are willing to die for Amorim. So like I can't like critique his methods per se, you know. But at the same time, it's like he's the guy that was brought in. Like this is the guy. Like it makes me question things that happened in January. It's like, did you actually okay him? Did you actually agree to bring him in? Because you didn't want him in the summer, and it's documented that you didn't want him in the summer. But then did you change your mind, or did you not change your mind? He just kind of gets forced on you, and then you're like, I don't even want him to begin with, so I'm more willing to kind of exile him type thing, you know? It's going to be costly for the club. I don't know what's going to happen to him next season. No one's going to pay a transfer fee for him. So it's best case scenario, we get a loan and someone takes a salary off the books at least, and then the contract expires the next year. Or we just have to bite the bullet and pay him like $3 million to mutual rescind, because I don't see him coming back, to be honest.
Yeah, most definitely. Danny, I'll ask you as well. Slimani went on Instagram after I think the day after, or after all the drama, and said, yeah, it's difficult to train when you're not eating or drinking. Obviously, going through Ramadan at the moment. And he said, but I know I could question my effort and always give 100% in training. Obviously, I'm not a fan of social media, as we've seen with other players in the past. I mean, probably not put Slimani any higher in Amorim's aspirations, but again, whose side are you on? What are your overall thoughts on the situation?
Yeah. And on that social media post, apparently Varandas was even pissed off and had a word with Slimani or something. I kind of agree with what James Reis here has to say for a second. Amorim is right even when he's wrong. For now, you know, I give him that leeway because, yes, he won us the title, but more so than that, he has us playing good football. He has us playing winning football, more importantly. I know there's results in this year that haven't resulted, but I tend to stick with the manager in these situations simply because, like Christian was saying, we're not there to see, you know, did he, you know, throw a temper tantrum like a little baby? Did he really not give a fuck? Or was it that he's going as hard as he can, like you were mentioning, he is fasting, right? It's just not up to Amorim's standards. If that's the case, then, you know, that's a little iffy. Because I also get the arguments that are coming out on social media. I'm shocked to see how many people are all of a sudden coming off I understand it's 2 losses, so I understand with Sporting, we tend to, us fans tend to really like get into that. Like it's 2 losses, especially to rivals, and, you know, it's all hell's loose again. So I also understand that. And even when times are good, you know, I understand, you know, 2 losses to rivals, tough 2 losses to rivals, seeing us kicked out of 2 competitions essentially. But I mean, relatively times are decent. Like, you know, we're not in 5th right now, or 7th or 3rd, and getting away from Champions League, we have to secure
Even
Champions League.
Even 3rd would be a big difference. Yeah,
3rd would be huge. 3rd, I would understand everything. Right,
the house would be on fire. If we were in 3rd right now, the house would actually be on fire.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, it feels like I'm smelling smoke on a okay season. Okay, things haven't gone as well as it has been. But I feel like people tend to forget we were 19 years in a drought. We did win a Taça da Liga. We went to a semifinals where we lost to a rival in the Taça Portugal. We had a fairly decent showing in the Champions League. When was the last time we were in the quarterfinals, boys? I can't tell you. I can't remember.
The quarterfinals around 16.
Or sorry, the round of 16. Sorry, not the quarter.
2010, I believe, when we got smacked to buy in like 11-2.
Okay, and this time we got slapped to City 5-0. Not bad. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's an improvement on the Bayern game.
50% improvement, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, they did play their second squad in the second leg, but
we're the only team that hasn't lost at the Etihad this season.
There you go. What a stat. What a stat. But that's what I'm saying. It's a bit too much of a soap opera already. I honestly think I don't think we're getting rid of. I think Slimani stays next season. I think this is. I think it's the same treatment with Mathieu. You know, like these players might think that they're because.
But do you think Mathieu would have come back if he didn't tear his ACL?
I do. I think
he did come back. What I'm saying for a few games though.
Exactly. What I'm saying with Mathieu is Amorim dropped him, and then he came right back into the squad, and then he never left the squad. Right? Maybe it's a different situation.
He doesn't have social media to dig his grave deeper though for a week after the initial incident.
That's true. That's true. But I also Slimani has player of the month, and he has half as many goals as Paulinho in like 5% of the games played. Like I understand Paulinho, like we've mentioned, and you know, Paulinho's not a striker. Paulinho's not just a goal scoring striker. He does more.
He's a center defensive forward. He's a CDF, center defensive forward.
Facts. And I get that. But I don't from the performances I've seen from Slimani, I didn't see him being lazy on the field.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing that needs to be mentioned. Like, I feel like Amorim was like, Paulinho gives us this when he's out there. So you need to at least give us this. And like, I feel like he's been busting his ass chasing the ball down.
Yeah.
So like, but I guess it's a game. People maybe mail it in practice when they try more in games. I don't know, right? But like, it does seem like it's out of character based on what we've been able to see publicly. You know?
Exactly. The other thing with me is like, should Amorim, if we're talking about errors and stuff, should Amorim, and this is my question to you guys because I've never coached footy, and the only time I've ever been in footy, I've been young, so I've been energetic. But should Amorim be holding 33-year-olds to the same standards as 18-year-olds, right? Especially when he's fasting.
It is worth noting that the only other player that's fasting is also exiled for the team, but his exile started a little bit earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I think Fadal is a quality thing, I think.
If you're sorry, go ahead. Sorry, no, you go ahead. I was just gonna say Amorim's like picking up some discrimination points. I feel
like I was shocked you didn't mention that earlier. Honestly, what was I gonna? I think it might be a quality thing, like the same thing with Fadal. I think Fadal's being dropped because he's not up to par. I think Slimani's dropped because he's not up to par. I don't believe Amorim when he says that he gave the okay to Slimani. I think Amorim had maybe a name or two in mind. They couldn't get that name or two, and the administration in Viana said, I promise you, Slimani's a good striker. And now maybe it's frustration.
But do you remember that round of news? Slimani first came, and it's like he has to prove himself. And then there was like that round. It's like he did prove himself. Amorim was skeptical, and now he's convinced. That was a news cycle.
Yeah, and he started a few games. Amorim dropped Paulinho for like a game or two, right?
I think he moved him out to the wing and dropped Pot instead.
Yeah.
Pot was injured for like 2 weeks. So he was dropped, then Paulinho was at the right wing, and it was Slimani up front.
But there's one game where, if I'm not mistaken, it's Sarabia, Pot, and Slimani as well. Maybe it's Taça Portugal I'm thinking of. But I'm convinced there's at least one game like that. Or if it's not Pot, it's somebody else. Maybe Nuno Santos or something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm convinced there's at least one game of that. Maybe two, but at least one I know for sure. So maybe you're right, too. Maybe he did prove himself, but again, we're not...
And he unproved himself. I guess it's not permanent. Once you prove yourself, you can always unprove it, right?
Exactly. There has to have been something in training that Amorim didn't like, and maybe he didn't like Slimani's response to it.
What is your response? What is your response to people that are like, as Gaia must be like fucking Johan Cruyff in training then, if this man can just never face any punishment whatsoever.
But let me shoot these guys some bail, bro. With the few opportunities he's had, he's like on the top in terms of our assist leaders, right?
Yeah, at some point he was the top assister. I don't know if it's still the case.
Him and Nuno Santos.
No, he's like top 3 or 4.
Nuno Santos is always like sneakily at the top of that list.
exactly. But Nuno Santos, I think, is at least double the games that he's got. Nuno Santos features a lot more than we may think, right?
Yeah.
And deservingly so. But yeah, with Slimani, it's tough. If we're not there, it's tough to say. And in these situations, I tend to side with the managers. So I do see, I do kind of, if everything were,
it's more sustainable to side with the manager, right? It's just maintaining the manager and just bringing in a new striker is a lot easier than bringing in a new coach and a new system and a new program, etc. You know?
Yeah. But now I wonder if it's Kaiser dropping Slimani, do we have this rhetoric? If Amorim doesn't win the league,
well, it depends. It depends on how the club is doing. You know, there's definitely a lower tolerance for that when the results aren't there, and it's like, we just bought this guy. He's one of the highest earners. Like, what do you mean? Figure it out, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But Sporting, it's Portugal loves the soap operas, and Sporting loves them too.
Just came right at the right time, too. Right at the right time.
I thought we were about to implode on time, boys. Like, that Boavista game was getting me a little nervous, especially with the Benfica fans that were on earlier talking about how we're about to drop points, blah, 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 blah. Side note, I'm so glad it was Benfica that dropped points. I wasn't expecting
that. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either. And they'll never watch, especially to Famalicão. They'll never watch this, but I was this close to adding Timo and Peter this weekend, being like, kind of shit, eh? I don't know. Kept it to myself. I'm a good boy.
Bigger man.
Good stuff. But I'll just give my quick thoughts. Like, I mean, I'm not going to go into too much what you said. I side with Amorim. I get the point though. What Chris was saying, like, how many more times I'm gonna have to prove myself? You know, pretty sure he scored in like every game bar like one. Like he scored. So I think with him. The only thing I don't like with him, what he did, because obviously we went out there and training, we don't know what happened, is the social media thing. Because Amorim hates that. Like, even Pedro Porro would literally just tweeting, "Oh yeah, I've hurt my hip," and he was like, "No, like delete that immediately."
Yeah.
So,
but was Porro dropped for Isgaio?
I think.
He was injured.
No, he was suspended.
So he was still dropped though. in that way. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's fair. But like, I don't know. I get the thing with this guy as well, but I feel like just because Porro's been so injured all the time, that it's just difficult to like. I mean, if Paulinho was injured all the time and like never played, then I guess Slimani doesn't get dropped. But I know you asking the question if it's Kaiser, if it's someone else. Are we having this argument? But like, in my opinion, if Slimani isn't like a sporting hero or a sporting legend, let's say we sign some guy from Tondela or whatever,
Castellanos or something, you know.
Yeah. Or like, so let's say we signed Beto instead from Udinese or him, and then so like, is this going to get the same outpour? Personally, I don't think so. I think Slimani. People will remember Slimani back in the day, and that's fine because obviously he was a great player and a great striker, but he's not that same guy anymore. Even though he has scored a few times, but you know, he's not the Slimani that I think people just assume that he just walked straight into the team, and like. A lot of fans are like, oh, yeah, Slimani's coming back. He's going to come back and score goals straight away. But, like, it does take time, especially at Lyon. I think he only scored twice in like, 18 appearances. Before that, he was still at Lyon, like, not playing very well. He had that one good spell at Monaco, then flopped to Fenerbahce, didn't score a single goal in Newcastle in 4 appearances. Didn't play that well for Leicester either. So it's sort of like a downward trajectory in, like, that big, like, middle bit for Monaco. Personally, I agree that Amorim just didn't want him. And I feel like it was just like, you know, it's either you get Slimani or you get no one. So at that point, it's going to be like, well, you know, it's a long season. At that point, we still had Champions League to play and, you know, Taça de Portugal. And I think Taça Liga might have finished when he signed. But, like, I mean, it was a long season. So I think he probably said, you know, fair enough. But I don't think he's definitely not an Amorim player as well. I feel like Amorim, we know what striker he looks for is like quite a quick one and like likes to close down and like Paulinho could play on the wings. That's like, we're not putting Slimani on the wings. Paulinho is quite versatile in that aspect. Not trying to like big him up or anything, but yeah, I see both sides. I'm 50-50, but leaning more towards Amorim. Like he's done it with Ristovski. Like I think he pulled him at like minute 35, like during the pandemic or something like that, because he just wasn't defending and he didn't play another game since. Obviously, I mentioned Mathieu. And, you know, I feel like he's just going to be one of them coaches like Mourinho who just falls out with a player every season. But But yeah, I think we've pretty much hit the nail on the head. Before we move on to the game, there is just one more question that I've got to ask both of you. So there's been a debate on Twitter that, okay, so like we said, we've not had a bad season by any stretch. Round of 16 Champions League, 2 trophies this season already with the Super Cup and the Taça Liga. But a lot of people are saying that the reason we're not first or the reason we're not winning games is solely on Paulinho. And that is, like, obviously I've got the shirt there, so I'm a bit more biased. But what are your guys' thoughts? If we have a better striker, are we winning the league? And just before you guys answer, I'm just going to give my 2 cents, right? Paulinho is not great, and I'm not denying that he isn't a good striker, because I think he's a good player but not a good striker. I've said it many times. He runs out, he presses, and he's good on the ball. He's just not a great finisher. However, if you look at those games, Santa Clara, Esgaio's performance was awful, and like that pretty much lost. Obviously, it's a team spirit, team game, and like we win as a team, we lose as a team. But Esgaio was definitely at fault for that. And even in the Braga game, Inacio and Coates, man, their defending was so bad. And I think the defense is the main part of why we're not playing so well. Obviously, Esgaio, Porro injuries, Fidal injuries, whatever. But if we just look at the league for a second, so we're like, I think 6 points off 85 points, which is the same amount we won the league with. We've almost got the same goals scored and goals against. But you guys have to remember as well that we've been in more competitions. I think we've had 10 extra games than we had last season with Champions League and Portugal, Taça Liga, etc. So for me, it's just the defense, and I think fatigue is the reason we've lost so many points. Like, we still have a young squad. Like, these players aren't used to playing in Europe, like a Paulinho. I know he's had like Braga, but like, Pot. I think this was Pot's first season in Europe because obviously with Walls of Famalicão didn't get any games. Just so many, like Inacio as well. That's my opinion. I think fixtures and the defense. What are your guys' thoughts? I'll start off with you, Danny. Do you think there's anyone else that should have stepped up? I see G's commenting here about Pot. Do you think he can be partly to blame, or if you were to blame it on like a few things, what would you say?
Paulinho's not the only reason. I'll put it that way. I think squad depth, like you were saying, it's an extra 10 games, and I feel like we didn't prepare for the season as well as we should have. I agree with you in the defense. That's where I'm saying with squad depth, we should have had another center back. Maybe we weren't expecting Mateus Reis to be this superior left back that we are seeing now, but I think it's evident. I personally think it's evident that he shouldn't be playing left or center back. That he gives us a lot more solutions at left back than he does center back. But yes, I'm with you. I think it's Paulinho. I think it's Bot. I think the defense let us down. I think a lot of rotation in the midfield let us down too, because most times we're not. I'm not sure who's our next team. Who's in the next game we're playing? Gil Vicente. I can't tell you if it's Mateus Nunes with Ugarte, if it's Mateus Nunes with Palhinha, if it's Ugarte with Palhinha, if Bragança is going to sneak into the. I can't tell you. Maybe I can guess that it'll be Palhinha and Mateus Nunes because reports coming out that we're trying to sell Palhinha, but to be honest, like, I can't tell you who's our midfield. So I think that rotation has a lot to do with it. It might be experience, like you were saying too, Sam. Like in terms of Champions League, the most experienced guys are Sarabia, Coates. I want to say Adan, but Adan played most of his games probably on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Sarabia and I think maybe Neto, because obviously he was at Zenit and Fenerbahce. They always seem to be in there. But like,
do you also notice just like, obviously, like the situations where we were tied last season, like when it was like throw the kitchen sink mode and we put Coates up top, even when it didn't work out, which happened less than it did work out last season, it always was like hella fucking threatening. Like, it's just like they just 80th minute, they just flipped the switch and just went into savage mode. And like, I don't know if I've seen that once this season.
No, agreed. But that's also a problem in terms of was it Nuno Gabriel that says it, in terms of, is it Paulinho's fault? It might be Paulinho's fault. The fact that our center back has to fucking bomb up there and win headers because he can't do such. I agree with you, Sam. He's a good player. I think he's a good striker as well. I just think he succumbs to the pressure way too much, and I've noticed that from day one. The moment that he had to turn off his, and this is more of a personal thing for sure, but the moment that he has to turn off his Instagram comments because we're criticizing him with the price tag and a game or two, is the moment I see he doesn't have that Mamba mentality.
The price tag will weigh like an anchor on anyone, you know?
Fair, and that's fair, but because it weighs on him, I think that's where he fucks up on. That's where sometimes I'll see Paulinho, instead of running to the right area, he'll maybe run just a bit past it because he's too scared to take on the responsibility to take the shot on net. Because if he misses, he misses. I don't agree that he's a Gil Vicente player. I think he's a Sporting player. I think it's just his mentality. I think if he's able to play with the pressure, we have a good striker on our hands. Because, Paul doesn't score the goals that he did last season, and we're in this position that we're in. I also think, last thing for me in this case and why we finished second, I think we're unlucky at the same time too, because the Braga game was a fluke. At the very least,
we got lucky a lot, and we didn't get lucky at all this year. Adon saved probably like 93% of shots on target, and this is probably 80%. Still a good goalie, but like 93 is ridiculous, and I just made those numbers up. But like, and the thing is, point.
Exactly. But the thing is also with Adon, it's not even that he sees a lot of shots either. He sees like 3 or 4, and then on the off day, he'll maybe concede a goal or two, right?
Which never happened last season.
Exactly. So it's tough. I think it's a bit of everything. We're a bit unlucky.
Paulinho, but also, Pop scored on like 65% of his shots, and now he's like the worst finisher in the league. So goes from being the most efficient finisher to the least efficient finisher. That doesn't help either.
Agreed.
That also doesn't take pressure. That maybe takes pressure off Paulinho if we're already up 1-0 because Pot's goal, his shot went in, 1 shot, 1 goal. But if it's 0-0 in the 65th minute and the fucking crowd's getting restless, like it weighs on him more, I guess.
Fuck.
Yeah, most definitely. Just before I move it on to you, Chris, the only thing I was gonna say was Pedro Porro was injured at the start of this season for quite a while, so much that I think I named him like disappointment of the season just because he just never played and was injured so many times. Even in the Champions League game against Ajax, I think Inacio was out for a few weeks, and that led us to either play for Dahl, who got hurt as well. Yeah, Pot was hurt, Vidal was hurt, Porro was hurt. I'm trying to think on top of my head. I think like Paulinho missed a few games, I believe.
Like in the recent months.
And apparently Paulinho has been dealing with ankle injury. That's why he's rested some games and brought off early. But like, I mean, I think it's just a combination of literally everything. I think blaming it on Paulinho is too far for me. Like it's a team game. If you can't say, oh, we won that game because of Paulinho, you can't say we lost that game because of Paulinho. So that's just my thought. Chris, what were your thoughts on the sort of Paulinho situation? Do you think he's to blame or?
No, I think it's a combination of like a little bit of everything that we talked about. Yeah, we're just less efficient in critical areas. He probably won 8 games last season after the 85th minute. Have we won a single one this year? It's just like when teams are champions, they just somehow find a way to fucking win. That Braga game, down a man, getting played off the pitch, somehow win 1-0. Like, it's almost like it was written in the stars last season. And this season, it's not bad, right? Because things could be going worse, but they're not fully going right. And all it takes is like 3 bad games and you lose the league in this league, you know? So.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to think off the top of my head as well. Like, I mean, 6 points behind Porto currently. We'll get into the Boavista game soon, but it's just like we're not that far off, like I said, where we were last year. And like, considering we have more games to play and more injuries.
On paper, the squad's better, which is hilarious. The squad is literally better on paper this year than it was last year.
I even think we've been playing better stuff than we have some at points last year. Maybe not recently.
We were playing shit last. I mean, there were moments we played like shit, but we always just pulled it out, bro. We always just pulled it out, no matter how shit it was.
Yeah.
No matter how fucking cruisable it was for 75 minutes.
With an
expected goals of 0.3, but we just fucking pulled it out somehow, you know?
Exactly. Whereas in this season, I felt like we played some decent stuff and have left maybe without a result or just barely nicking a result, right? Crazy how this shit happens.
Yeah, Most definitely. I'll leave it there for that. We'll go to the Boavista game first, as it was most recent. Happened yesterday, 3-0 victory. I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't watch this game. Other stuff came up, so I just didn't have time to watch it. But it was 3-0 victory. Down in net, Inacio Coates, Neto, Ricardo Esgai, Nuno Santos, Mateus Nunes, Paulinho, Edwards, Pedro Gonçalves, and Sarabia up top. Danny, I'll start with you. What were your overall thoughts on this game?
Yeah, same with you. I watched bits and pieces of it. I was stuck at work. It was a good response from us. I think I said that we were going to batter Boavista the next game, and I'm glad that we did so because it was the response I wanted to see at the very least, right? I thought Boavista didn't, that I can remember off the top of my head, Boavista didn't create a lot of chances. I personally like Edwards, Sarabia, and Pot going forward. I'm a big fan of that, to be fair. It brings us a bit more versatility. Whether it can stand like a whole season or not, I'm not sure, but I did like it. Not a lot to be said, right? We scored from a penalty, I believe. We scored from a goal that sort of just
a fluke
a fluke. Yeah,
and
the goal just kind of, the ball rolled to Mateus Nunes and he slotted it at the right side. Like, fair enough. What was the third goal? Yeah,
the third goal was the penalty.
The penalty, but I mean the second goal.
The second goal was the Edwards deflection that may or may not have crossed the line.
Right. Yeah, we played decent stuff. It was a good response. Boavista is they're not fighting relegation at least, but they're not on the top either. They stole points from Benfica though, didn't they?
It was a decent side. I feel like they lost all their best players from last season, but they were literally worse last season. They had better names on paper last season.
They lost what's face to Botafogo the other day.
Yep.
So but yeah, it was a good victory. It was a good response at a weekend that Porto lost and Benfica tied. At least one of the big three won points, so that's something to be positive about. It's just more disappointing because if we beat Benfica,
it's too little, too late. It's too little, too late.
Exactly. Because if we beat Benfica, we're 3 points off, and Porto goes to the luge. Porto faces a Vizela that's fighting relegation, and the last game of the season they're facing, I forget who, but it's another toughish.
But do you think Porto
Estoril
goes?
There you go.
Do you think Porto goes more into savage mode? If they knew that because we played after them though, so it's not like they knew that we were getting closer because they had to play first still.
I'm gonna be honest.
So I don't buy that argument anymore. I don't buy that because I was like, if they knew that we would have gotten 3, they would have gone harder. But they wouldn't have known that we could have made it 3 by then because we played after them.
I'm gonna. But
it was just the potential we could have made it to 3.
Fair. I think it's if we don't lose to Benfica the week prior, Porto gets a penalty. A deserved penalty, by the way. A deserved penalty in the box when the Braga defender is jumping and he comes down and he sort of steps on Teremi.
Yeah.
But because Teremi is having this reputation, now maybe VAR isn't so quick to check on it. The referee doesn't want to go check on it or believe him, blah, blah, blah. I think if we don't drop points, there's at least a penalty call. That's the Portuguese league for you, though. I can say it the other way around. Maybe if last season, if Sporting, or even this season, if Sporting was ahead and Porto dropped points, I see us maybe losing a game.
The penalty that we got, remember the very controversial penalty kick that we got against Ferenc last season for the punch?
Our guy in the face? Yeah, that was the most ridiculous, controversial call ever.
Dude, how did we get that call to go our way, bro? That's how I knew it was written in the stars, dude. But they just I've seen that not get called. This season, I've seen it not get called multiple times. And I've seen rival fans refer to that moment. And I'm like, we did get a VK in the 90th minute because of that. And it was literally softer than the one I'm watching right now.
Maybe they shouldn't have complained a lot and then they would have gotten the penalty this season. Go ahead, Chris. I have nothing else to say really on this.
Yeah, Boavista, they I feel like of the teams that we've played recently, they put up the most resistance. I don't think Toyota put up much resistance. I don't think Pasadena put up much resistance. I'm not counting our the rivals, obviously. But to be honest, Benfica didn't put up much resistance when we played them. They just fucking broke on the counter twice.
Boavista played more offensive football than Benfica did, bro. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think Boavista's hard done at the end of the day by the scoreline, to be honest. Because like we talked about, a banger, kind of a PK and a fluke. And, you know, their expected goals is 0.5. Ours is 1.9. We each had 10 shots. Like, it was a more even game than some games that we've played recently. But we were still on top. We obviously carved out the better chances. Yeah, I mean, they're giving Mateus Nunes man of the match here, and it's definitely because he has like a 98% pass completion rate in this game. But for me, this was not that good of a Mateus Nunes game. It wasn't that good of a Paulinho game. It wasn't that good of a Pop game, despite the assist that was kind of lucky, but still very nice. Back heel assist is a back heel assist. But outside of that, I don't think he's like risen his level to, you know, at all. Backline solid. Kawats was like actually like really like he probably had like 7 like really good like I think the official term is like approximative pass, like a pass like into a dangerous area. Kawats had like so many of those. Ignacio had a solid game as well, as demonstrated by his number. Yeah, I mean, I think that this game was just kind of like, I think deep down everyone knows that we're not losing 3 games out of 4 and losing second place. But also Porto is not losing 2 games out of 4 and we're not getting first. So I think that the game kind of reflected 2 teams that kind of know that their fates are basically locked in. Boavista's not getting dropped, but they're not getting to Europe. They're just stuck in the middle, and we're stuck where we are. And we honestly probably should have won 1-0, but we got out of here with a bit more comfortable of a scoreline. So, I mean, I'll take it. But it's not a 3-0. I remember, like, I think it was, like, earlier this month, we were like, wow, like, finally, like, a 3-0, and it was, like, convincing. I mean, this is 3-0, but it wasn't like a super convincing 3-0. But again, I'll still take it. But if they could drop points, second place really has to be like officially locked up. I feel like at this point, yeah. And like we said, the Porto loss. I mean, it makes you think of what could have been. You know,
it was locked up last week, man.
Yeah. We had to lose. We had a 6-point advantage. And we have the tiebreaker. We have the tiebreaker. No, we need to lose 3, or we need to lose 2 and tie 1.
Well, we won. Yeah. So how does our tiebreaker work?
Drop 3 points.
We won.
Because they won. We won. They won 2-0, and we won 3-1, and we scored an away goal. Yeah.
I mean, you. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to go back to that. Yeah, exactly. It was locked. I'm with you. It's been locked up.
Yeah, I think officially it's still not, but like, you know. I think we should be good, bar disaster. Just one more question for you, Chris. Was Ruben Vinagre really the worst player on the pitch at a 4.4?
I mean, it's tough to really get your score above like 5-3 when you come on as a sub, but there's always room to make it go down, I guess. I mean, I did not notice him as that bad. I didn't think he was good, but I just thought he was fine, you know, average, didn't really do anything, didn't really cause any calamity, so I'll consider that a win.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So the question I had, which you've pretty much answered. So obviously Porto dropped points, which leaves them now 6 points ahead. Like we've mentioned, they've got a very tough few games actually. So they've got Vizela, like you said, I think they'll be fine. But they've got Benfica away and then Estoril at home, who nearly took points off them this season already, bar a bad disallowed goal call, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So is there any chance, like if you were to give me a percentage of do you think Porto are going to drop 2 games? Because we've got the goals against, so we've got that tiebreaker. All we need them is to drop 6, I believe, and we need to win the rest of the games. Danny, give me what are you thinking? What is your percentage on winning the league?
We have about a 0.999999 chance to winning the league. but I will put $5 on that just in case, to be honest. If that makes any sense.
1%. Yeah, I'd probably say like 3%.
I really want to say like 50%. Like, I genuinely
50%.
Like
a team that lost 0 times in 2 years is gonna lose 3 in the last 4. That'd be savage.
I'll tell you why. So they're obviously going to beat Vizela, right? 100% we could agree. Benfica are not letting them win the title at their home, and that's going to be a Benfica
But a draw, I think that they draw, and it's not enough.
No, they need 4. They need 4 points. So if they lose to Vizela, if they beat Vizela, which they will, and then they have to lose to Porto and Estoril.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think they're firming an L from Benfica, to be honest. I'm just looking at where Estoril at the table. I mean, Estoril aren't really fighting for anything, but like they've got their revenge from the game before.
They're too hot and cold now. Yeah. They're like Gil Vicente. They both fell off at like the wrong time.
Gil Vicente really fell off like in the last like 2 weeks.
A few games, they have.
Like maybe a month, more like a month actually.
Yeah.
But like I was saying this the other day, I have like this dream of like, you know, like the Aguero moment, but like instead it'll be like Paulinho, like 90th minute, like to clinch the title.
Well, both games would be happening at the same time in theory. So our game against Santa Clara would be going on at the same time as theirs against Estoril.
I think that the kickoff's usually like 6 when they play together.
Yeah,
so like
it's usually like a midday. Yeah.
But like obviously we've still got Santa Clara, who we lost to already this season, but this time we have them at home, I believe. We've got Portimonense, who are now safe, so they definitely won't rotate their team, unlike they did against another team who not been mentioned. And obviously,
by the way, an investigation has been opened into the game. Not that anything's gonna happen, but
not in this.
It's not normal, bro. When you're relegation threatened and there's 4 games left, bro, all of the games matter. You don't just punt on one of them. But it worked out.
Fairness, it worked. Yeah,
they gotta win this weekend, right? So like, it fucking works. But goddamn.
Yeah, they're mathematically safe, but like, I mean, maybe that means they are going to throw out a shit team against us because they've got nothing to play for. But I guarantee they won't. They'll probably play their starting 11. But yeah, okay, maybe not 50%, but I'll go like I'm going to go at least a solid 25. Like, I mean, I still believe in the boys. Like, you never know what's going to happen at the end of the day. Like,
what do you think is more likely, us dropping points or them dropping points?
Them.
Probably them. I guess their schedule's a bit harder, right?
Their schedule's harder, yeah.
And all the teams we're playing against, I mean, Gil Vicente, I believe, are fighting for Europe, but my app's not loading at the moment, so I can't actually tell you. But like Portuguese, like we just mentioned, is safe.
They're in 5th. Well, they're basically hoping that they need Tondela to not win the Taça de Portugal. Yes. They're rooting hard for Porto to win the Taça.
Boys, a quick question on that. Super Taça. Porto faces Tondela. If Porto wins, Porto faces Tondela, or do they face Sporting? That's a question Sporting, I have no idea.
Right? I think they would be counting as the cup champion, and then they would play the league runner-up. I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. They'll play Sporting because they're the league runner-up.
So yeah,
I've seen a lot of people saying they play Tondela because they're the cup runner-ups.
Nah, I think
that's all. That's why I'm confused. But I've seen both answers. So.
Yeah, that's a good question. I could probably get you an answer by the end of the night. It'll take me like 20 minutes to figure it out.
I like that response time. And by the way, Gil Vicente still fighting for 5th. Yes, rooting hard for Tondela. Guimarães 5 points off. So, still possible.
Well, I mean, 5th and 6th both get Conference League, so they might be safe enough.
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah, I think that they're both set. What I can see is it says 5th and 6th the Conference League, but I don't know if 5th is straight entry.
6th is the maybe.
I think both are playoffs.
Oh really? Okay.
No,
last season both were playoffs.
If the cup winner isn't in the top 5, then it's not 6th. Otherwise, it's top 6. You know. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, hopefully Gil Vicente will already have that secured if Guimarães drop points. So. But like I said, you know, I'm not obviously overly confident. Like 25%, I think we're more likely to win the league than we are to lose 2nd place. Knock on wood, obviously.
Yeah, I actually think that's true.
I agree.
Amazingly, I amazingly think that is true.
But knowing that, we'll probably lose the next game, and then we'll just be sad about it anyway.
We'll lose all 3 of the last games and somehow drop the 3rd. Yeah. Dude, Alcochete would happen again.
This clip would be all over Twitter and Facebook, just of Porto and Benfica fans just saying, they said they were going to win the league, and then we dropped it. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of rival fans, let me get the last game up, which was quite a while ago now. But unfortunately, crashing out of the Taça de Portugal, a 1-0 to Porto. Lineup as followed: Adan, Coates, Inacio, Neto, Porro, who got sent off, Matheus Reis, Matheus Nunes, Ugarte, Pot, Sarabia, and Paulinho. 1-0. Pepe with the assist, Tony Martinez with the goal. Chris, what were your overall thoughts on the game? And I know we mentioned it earlier, but just like, what went wrong?
Yeah, this game fucking sucked. And to be honest, like, I don't ever like turn the TV off. And like if I do, I switch it back on. But like I was actually gonna turn the TV off after the Porto goal. But then I was like, wait, nothing changed about the scenario. We still need 2 goals. We needed 2 goals before. All that's gonna happen is we're just gonna go to overtime. Okay, I have to turn it back on. So I rage quit and then unrage quit because I realized the scenario didn't really change for us. But yeah, this second half made me want to like chop my finger off so bad. Like equal amount of red cards as shots, not a good statistic. Yeah, I mean, we made him think about it a little bit in the second half, but I mean in the first half. But to be honest, it never felt like we were gonna do it. It never felt like we were gonna turn the tide and score 2 goals here and really turn this around. It felt like they were, even if we had some moments or spells where we were decent, like they never felt like they weren't in control of the tie, you know?
Yeah, agreed, definitely. Danny, what were your overall thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. It was like a tale of 2 halves. First half, I was actually at work when we scored that offside goal, and I was going crazy. So I thought, 1-0 first half, we can nick a goal in the second and be good. But okay, it wasn't meant to be. I think this was a really bad performance. I think
to be honest, I had very little confidence going into the game. I really didn't think we were going to be able to turn it around. I was like, if we do, it'll be. I won't be expecting it. It'll be incredible. But
I was full of confidence this game. I'm not gonna lie. I was convinced we were about to win.
Yeah, so was I.
At the very least, 1-0 and whatever. We crashed out in there. I was confident. So much so I put 100. I think this is why we lost. I put $100 on Sporting. That's where we fucked up. To be honest, boys.
100.
So that's my bad.
$100,
To win the game or to advance in the tie?
Just to win the game.
Okay.
That's all we needed, really. But well, not all we needed. 1-0. I thought at the very least we would only win 1-0 and then crash out. So that's my bad. That's something for me and Dave Pereira to talk about later with their bets. But yeah, like first half, I thought we might have had them. We played well. Porto didn't really do much. Like I said, we scored an offside goal. We had another decent shot on target, if I'm not mistaken. But second half was what I felt everybody was saying about the Benfica performance. I felt was our second half. I feel like this game was even worse than the Benfica game. We couldn't sniff out of our half at certain points. I felt like for 20 minutes, Porto just glued us there before scoring. Yeah, a match to forget for sure. Always tough to go to Porto, especially an undefeated Porto, especially a Porto away.
It pissed me off when he took Sarabia off and put Edwards in. It's like, bro, you can't take off Pot right now or Paulinho and invent a little bit. Like,
when we talk about Amorim making mistakes, I think that's a mistake that he has yet to learn. Is that he takes off Sarabia at the weirdest times when Sarabia is like our most threatening player.
Was Sarabia having his greatest game? No, but like he was still among the better for us out there, at least, to be honest.
Exactly.
And he obviously has the most like danger potential.
I agree. That's where I don't get Amorim at times is why he takes off Sarabia. There's been a few times
2 goals, bro. Like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on this game. I just thought. Let me just say, I loved Matheus Reis in this game. The few players that actually showed me some sort of garra. Let me continue the fucking Matheus Reis hype train. I'm fucking loving the kid. I might buy a Matheus Reis jersey actually. And personally, Porro, what a tackle! What a tackle! All ball, in my opinion.
It was just such an unnecessary tackle as well.
Holy
Like there was just no need for it. We
Porto
already
fans
won
after coming off like, oh, this guy needs to be expelled from football. Blah blah blah. Like, relax.
It wasn't
What
that
a tackle! Holy, that was a horrible tackle.
It wasn't good, but it was. I've seen worse red cards. It wasn't a horror tackle.
I mean, they have their captain can show you a few horror tackles. You know what I mean? Like Porto, that was. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, and as well, he went to after the game to apologize. Apparently, those two are fine, which is always nice to see, I guess. But just in general, I thought we were awful, but I didn't think Porto were great either. Defensively, I thought they were good, but I didn't think that they didn't offer too much up front, apart from when they bring on Tony Martinez and obviously he scored. But bringing in this guy for Neto, I thought maybe Neto was injured, and I was like, okay, bringing in this guy makes sense. But then Neto trained the day after, played the game against Boavista, so it was just like, what a random substitution to make. And I agree, bringing off Sarabia, who's arguably our most dangerous finisher, especially this season. Bring him off to for Edwards. Ugarte, I mean, I feel like he couldn't really do much in this game. I agree with Danny saying that Matheus Reis was definitely the standout player. Again, but I don't really blame the loss on anyone on the team, really. I think it was just an overall poor performance from everyone. I'm not going to pinpoint one player. Kawhi's got a 5.1 on for goal point, but I really don't remember him doing anything too awful. Even with Esgaio come on as well, I didn't think he was awful. I can't really remember exactly how they scored, but I'm pretty sure it was just a normal goal. No one to blame.
Tony Martinez over the top.
Oh, if anything, it was Ignacio didn't fucking track, right?
Yeah, that was it, I think. Yeah. I think it went over his head. It went over Ignacio's head to Tony Martinez, and Dan had no chance. But again,
there was a lot of diving. There was a lot of diving going on
nuts.
from both teams. They were obviously diving a lot, but we had a couple dives too.
Yeah, they were saying that Evan Ilse should have been second yellow carded because he got one yellow card for simulation, but not another.
Can you get a yellow card for simulation outside of the box? I thought you could only get it for the box in the box.
No, I think you can get it anywhere. I'm pretty sure.
I've never, at least I don't think that I've ever seen it issued for the play where Evan Nielsen would have gotten his first one. That was a midfield. I've honestly never seen a yellow for simulation at midfield before. I feel like that's a stretch on our end. Asking for the red,
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't actually know what that rule is, but I thought it was. I thought it was anywhere because it's deceiving officials, which is unsportsmanlike, which could technically be
it's true. But deceiving the official to get the PK, which is such a massive advantage, is I understand why it carries the weight of a booking,
Yeah. I agree with what James was saying. I thought the ref was fine. There was
Dude,
nothing.
when people are flopping every play, man, it's tough to figure out what the 10% of them are actually fouls.
Yeah, and Porto always come in with sort of Rasa mentality. They're always going to go hard tackles and dive and whatever. So I think referees are used to refereeing now. But yeah, the referee was fine with it. 100% Porro red card. It was a good spot as well because I didn't realize how bad that tackle was until they showed it in slow motion. But they didn't even need VAR for it. It just went straight red card. But yeah, I thought dumb tackle from Porro, missing the next game, which obviously we won, which is good. But when you do it and we're at a crucial point in the season when we need to win every single game, bit stupid from him. But I'm gonna hold it against him. He went to Podcast Glen, like I said, and everything's fine. But yeah, would you guys? I know Danny, you gave your sort of man of the match. If you had to give one to Matheus Reis, Chris, would you do the same?
Yeah, probably. Probably Reis.
Yeah. Just a quick one as well. The whole thing that I just remembered that I was bringing up Paulinho earlier was because I believe in the two games he didn't have a single shot, lost the ball every single time, didn't have a completed dribble, completed pass, or something like that. It literally was 0-0-0-0-0. So
not a good 180-minute series for him.
Still got a higher rating than Pot, unbelievable. So. And Coates for that matter as well. But yeah, it's like I said when we played Benfica. Like I didn't even blame Slimani or Paulinho. It's obviously the game plan isn't for them to go dribble. It's literally for them to go stand in the box and wait for a header or wait for a cross or a corner. And I mean, I think we can't really do that against Porto because Pepe is massive and Bemba's massive. Like, and they're just good in the air as well. And even like I think Grujic is quite tall as well. So I don't think this is good that would work against them, especially like. I think Porto are definitely the best defensive team in the league. I know there's some question marks with Zaidu, and obviously they're playing that other Pepe at right back. So, but like I mean, like Danny said, I actually thought we were going to win. I thought it was going to go to penalties, to be honest. And like it's been a few times before, I thought we were gonna win 2-1 and then go into penalties. But obviously it didn't happen. But yeah. I think that's everything on the two games. Chris, did you want to dive into your loose ends?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a bunch of them. Basically, I feel like there's only one of them that's going to really provoke much further discussion. Jeremy Mathieu returned in a crazy outfit. So that was nice to see. There was like the suspensions getting overturned, classic Portuguese league joke. Pep ended up even being able to play when it was like, okay, the other ones can play if they appeal, but he definitely can't. It's like, nope. So that was just classic. Jeremiah St. Just returned to Mainz training. Worth noting for Sporting fans, he could be coming this way. Former Sporting legend Fernando is signing for Red Bull Salzburg for $6 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. We really missed out because he literally, I don't think, played one game.
He came injured and he didn't play.
Because I saw him playing the Champions League for Shakhtar this season. And I was like, is that the same one that was here? Like, damn.
He was balling?
He scored a goal like in the game I was
watching. Right, he did. Yeah.
The cycling doping scandal, which is like, it's like we're in like day 3 of that, but that's only going to continue to get worse. Porto's, I think the cycling team director was arrested. I think they had like systemic doping operation going on there and doping evasion as well, I'm guessing. So yeah, they are fucked. Morita seems to, I think that's probably going to happen. And we officially got the goal point scores. Pot is like literally the least efficient finisher in the Liga B win this season. Like as backed up by the numbers, he's scored 5 less expected goals than he should. Not good. And then the only other thing I want to talk about was the in the wake of the Benfica loss, the 2-0 loss at home, there was this free Curva Sul movement that like popped up among the Cartazes crowd. So I wanted to see like what you boys made of that, because to be honest, like the Benfica fans won on the field and they won in the stands on the day, and there's probably 5,000 of them max and 40,000 of us,
I really don't know what to think about it. I feel like you're going to have some strong opinions on it, Chris, because I know you said you were turning into the Joker reading all of those.
Yeah, well, it's like it's something. I mean, like, let's be real. The atmosphere in Alvalade has been shit for a year and a half. Are people only mad because you lost to Benfica? Like, if we beat Benfica, like, the Curva Sul wouldn't have been intimidating. We just would have won the game, So, yeah, I feel like it's just a conversation that having now is just so fucking pointless. The new admin is installed for another 4 years. Nothing's gonna change. It makes me feel like the Joker, because maybe in February this conversation would have actually had some utility and maybe would have gone somewhere. Maybe we'd have forced concessions from the guy that ended up winning the presidency, even at the very least. But nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, if that happened during the elections, like this free Curva Sul movement, like I'm not obviously Verandas was going to win either way, but like it's just they literally waited until we lost. We could have dealt like I remember our support on Twitter going viral for Ajax, and like there was no Curva Sul there, but everyone was like this is Sporting, I want to see this is blah blah blah. Not even a mention of cover sports, and obviously we miss like the tifos and the displays that they make. And like I do think getting them in will be a good thing, especially for the atmosphere, because even when I went to the Dortmund one, like the atmosphere was great, but there was just something missing. It wasn't like the game I went to before that was in 2018 when Nani came back to Sporting, and the atmosphere was great because the ultras were there. They had their tifos and the banners, and even like the away days, like you could tell like the more of the ultras go to that one just because the noise they make.
Yeah.
Stuff they do, but like. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on it, Danny. Just like the atmosphere.
I'm trying to find the tweet that I made where Alvalad's average attendance over the last like 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I feel like that tweet more than anything.
I thought it was on Transfer Market.
Very telling. It's a screenshot from Transfer Market. Yeah. I'll find it. I probably tweeted it like a week or two ago.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's nothing that we haven't said here already. Like, it's disappointing, man. Even I went out in September and it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same atmosphere. I remember I see these, German clubs with flags, and it's just honestly, it's Sporting has kind of become everything I despised, or not despised. Despise is a strong word, but everything I used to mock about English football. Because I love English football, but I hate English football at the same time. I want to be like, those prestigious European football fans. But it's just what Sporting is turning into, right? It's just. I don't have a problem with the Bristol boards, but it's just Bristol boards and the Central, and yeah, it's just the atmosphere has been sucked out of it. I've seen a lot worse Sporting moments, garnering a lot more atmosphere in the stands.
And
that is a crazy number.
It's not just the Curva Sul, bro. It's like I feel like just
everything.
Attendance in general. Yeah.
I remember under Bruno Carvalho, we were at least averaging like 38,000.
I mean, you can literally look at when Bruno comes in, the consistent rise and then the consistent fall. Obviously, COVID didn't help for sure, right? And let's just take those 2019-20 numbers, just throw them away. Or no, 2020-21, throw them away. Okay,
yeah, because 2019, it was just because we had a horrible season. That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's like you can literally see the consistent trajectory up, and you can see the consistent trajectory down. I don't know what the magic bullet that he had was. What was he pricing scheme? Like, what was his magic bullet that got 43,000 average? An average of more than double that we're averaging this season.
I mean, that's disappointing. Look at that. Like, okay, it's 2 less games, but look at that average. Off a season, we won the league.
The last game of the season, that doesn't mean anything. When we have 19,000, isn't going to make that average go up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's disgusting.
I feel like the only time I've seen a full stadium this season was during Champions League, and even then, like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know, like Benfica and Porto aside, obviously, because they will always sell out no matter what. But like, I think it's just like obviously the cost of living is going up and stuff with like obviously current world events and stuff, and some matches, especially I always feel that sporting matches are on so much later than Porto and Benfica. We always get like the 9:15s.
We get the
like
latest.
The 9:30.
Yeah.
Which I do.
Which
feel
for me, I don't care about because it just makes it like 3:30 instead of 1:30.
Better, it's better for us.
3:30 is usually better than 1:30. So yeah.
For you boys, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like people that's probably why they're not going. Like, obviously, prices going up, and like I said, like the late kickoffs never fun to go to, especially when you get. Let's say the game starts at 9:15. By the time you get out of the stadium, it'll be like 11. Get home. Let's say you live like an hour away. Like,
you can't really travel from too far away. It has to be in Lisbon, basically. I feel like.
Exactly.
Especially if you're going with kids, you can't be driving back 3 hours at midnight,
Yeah, I think a lot of it is to do with just sporting in general. But I think the league probably should maybe, I don't know what they could do, like maybe get an incentive in or something like that. But like, I don't know, it just feels very like what Juicebox says, like super drug are always loud and you can always hear them as annoying as they are.
We used to blame them for printing their tifos. Okay, they at least have tifos at this point, so can't even blame them for that. I
mean, all we have now is like signs saying, "Can we have your shirt?" And there's loads of them.
Dude,
that's the only atmosphere that I can see.
I feel like that was the trade-off. Was more of like the working man's game, like the ultra, the atmosphere was traded for, like a more family friendly atmosphere. Which, I mean, you could argue both have pros and cons, but
Exactly.
what are the pros of
slow attendance.
18,000? Because even if your prices are a bit higher because you're looking for a slightly more upper class consumer, there's no way it's offsetting if it was sold out at a slightly lower price level.
It's crazy that no matches were sold out in like the last 5 years as well. Like you would think like one of them would be like, especially like a Benfica or Portugal.
I think they maybe have for Champions, but not for Liga NOS or B-Win.
Oh yeah, that's true. Could we check? Like Champions,
but it is wild. I mean, this most recent Benfica game that we just played against them, I think it was 42,000. So I mean, it was 80% full, basically. Like,
there was a whole section missing. What was that all about?
Oh yeah, well that section's always empty. It's the Cartão de Adepto section that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. The Cartão de Adepto doesn't exist yet. There's still 2,000 empty seats every game.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, like, that's not an excuse because that's 2,000 seats. Okay, so Alvalad's a capacity. Think of it as 48K instead of 50. Okay, it's still not fucking close.
Yeah, I'm just checking Benfica's one as well because I just want to see.
They have bigger stadium too.
I would like behind. Yeah, but they've always had a.
But you notice it too. Like this Benfica game this past weekend, that shit wasn't sold out because they're not playing for shit.
Yeah, that's true.
It was quite spotty against Famalicão.
I hate transfer markets layout, man. It takes ages to find anything. Okay, let's see. Let me switch tabs. Okay, so this one is for Benfica. Like, I mean, their average is taking a dip too, as well, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the thing with COVID
Big
as well.
dip.
Like, maybe people just aren't over it yet. Like,
it could be
obviously
COVID,
it still
it could be
exists.
inflation.
Yeah, I mean, that's not great from Benfica this year, but they've been shit. I mean,
yeah, at least theirs makes sense. Like,
it's funny because if we were in what if we had their season is 12,000,
Yeah.
That's just fuck.
And let's check Porto's as well while we're here.
I think this is the more apples to apples because their stadium is the same size.
And if Transfer Market ever wants to load the page, would be good.
Is it typically that slow for you? Because I feel like I don't.
Not really. To be fair, I use it most on my phone than anywhere else. I mean, even their average attendance is still like half of their capacity, I believe. 26,000.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, clubs in Portugal are not trending up attendance-wise. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, also maybe the first 8 games, right? There's some capacity restrictions still.
Yeah, that's true. That was
true. That is true too. I guess next year will be a barometer of it.
Next year will be a much more accurate barometer, but I feel like it's not trending in the right direction either way.
Exactly. It's still not good when we still only have 20,000 in attendance, 28 most. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, something that we're always keeping track of over here, but some people only will make a big deal of it in the loss.
Doesn't even matter unless we're in a losing team.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, I think that's it for the loose ends. Do you have any modalities news to go over?
Futsal Champions League Final Four is Friday against ACCS, the French team with. I don't think Ricardo Ding is on their team anymore, but it was the one that he was on. Futsal won, or handball tied Benfica. Basketball won their first game of the second round by 2 against Oliverense. So I think they're 1-4 in the second round. B team lost, and the ladies lost to Braga 3-1, but still qualified for the Taça de Portugal final.
Cool. I think that's all we have time for. Unless you two can think of anything else on the side.
I think that's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I messaged Steph. Steph was supposed to try to jump on and during a break at work, but I guess I texted him and everything.
Bro.
I guess
getting that
duty
bread,
calls,
man.
man. I respect it.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get Steph on soon. I know we get comments all the time. People miss him. We do too. So hopefully, we can get him on. But that's been 150. Thank you all again for the continued support over the years. 5 years of Sporting 160.
One more thing. Well. Shout out Freddie Montero. Seattle Sounders playing in the CONCACAF Champions League final, leg 1 tonight.
Yep.
Let's go Seattle.
Let's go, Freddie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Freddie Montero that much.
Side note, I want Freddie to score, but I don't know if I want Seattle to win it. I don't want Seattle to be the first MLS.
Come on, the first MLS team to ever win the Champions League? Come on.
Chris, Seattle beat us twice in an MLS Cup final.
Sorry,
I can't fuck with Seattle, bro. It's tough, man.
It's the most Canadian-American team.
No, I'd say Minnesota. And then Seattle.
True, Minnesota, yeah.
But cool. Yeah, 150, 5 years. Thank you again. Hopefully 5 more. We have some more interesting things coming hopefully soon. We're definitely getting our name out there, and we're in them DMs. We want more people to come on, more former players or former members. Hopefully we'll have some soon and some more collaborations in the past with Proximo Jornada and things like that. Hopefully we get more collaborations. But for now, that's been Chris. You can follow him on Twitter there. That has been Danny. You can follow him on Twitter there. And that is myself to follow on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter in general, Sporting_160EN. Is that correct? I mean, I say it so many times.
I think it's Sporting160_EN.
Yeah. The underscore really fucks with me, so I really don't like it. But yeah, same on SoundCloud, Spotify, and any way you get your podcasts. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for 5 years and 150 episodes. Peace.